Hello, everybody, and welcome to this fourth episode of Word of Youth entitled Youth and School. Today we are with Grace and Joelle. Hi, Grace. Hi, Joelle. How you guys doing?
We're doing
Fine,
well.
thank you.
You're doing fine. All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate that, and it's my honor and my pleasure to have you guys. All right. As we say today, the title for today is Youth and School. So before we get further, when I say school, what do you guys think about? Like, when I say school, what comes to your mind, Grace or Joel?
Because it is specifically finals week, I'm thinking stress.
You thinking stress? What you thinking, Grace?
I have to agree. Just, but also like a place to learn and
Uh-huh.
grow.
A place to learn and grow. Is it
Yeah.
truly what you think, or is what you want to say?
I mean, no, you genuinely learn and grow from school. Like,
Really?
yeah.
That's true. Hey, I didn't go to the right school then. No, I'm just kidding. All right, all right, all right. All right, you say school is a place to learn and grow, and you, Joel, you say school means stress to you. Like, how,
I
why
mean,
stress?
because I do enjoy the process of learning, but the school environment oftentimes stresses me because of like its intensity and its demand.
Hmm. It's a lot for you. Like, is it a lot or is
It's
this
not
is
a
it?
lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's my problem is only it's a lot when it comes to making sure you meet the professors.
Mm-hmm. The requirements, let's say it like that, right? All good. All right. Okay. 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 So I realized something is that depending on the country, children spend a lot of time or they spend less time in school. Like in the United States, what is the average amount of time you guys spend in school in a day?
Um, like 7 to 8 hours, I think.
7 to 8 hours. Okay. Okay. I remember when I was in Cameroon, we used to spend I would go to school at 7 in the morning and get out of school at 6 sometimes. So it's like 11 to 12 hours, depending on what you had and depending on your grade too. You will spend less or more time in school. But that's particular. So like, what's the impact you think of the amount of time you spend in school on your vision of school? What I mean is that some people, because they don't spend too much time, it doesn't seem like it's boring or it's stressful, but other, because they spend a lot of time studying and all that, it seems different. So what do you think is the impact of the amount of time you spend on school in your vision of school?
Um, I think,
So, is your question?
Hmm?
Joel, you can go ahead. What happened?
You could go ahead. It's fine.
Okay. I was gonna say that spending less time in school, I think like per day kind of just allows you to think about other stuff other than like school and like grades and deadlines and homework. You get to, like have a personality outside of the classroom and
Hmm.
think about something else like for the rest of the day, for however many hours you have in the rest of the day. So, yeah, like focus on the stuff that you like outside of school. So, yeah.
All right, all right. So it kind of gives you like another perspective of life, and you can kind of develop other gift, other talent and all that when you don't spend too much time in school. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So for somebody who like me spent 11 to 12 hours in school, we don't have time for that. Like, the only thing we do is we get home, we eat, we have homework, we have to study. That's all we do. And what's actually the difference? Because I realized that there's a big difference when I there was a big difference when I came here, when I had to choose my classes, because in France or in Cameroon you don't get to choose it. Like, you just get to choose a program and they give you classes. But yeah, you get to choose the classes, you get to choose everything. So as people who grew in this American system, do you think it's an advantage for you guys to be able to choose what you want to do? Or you rather have like a set program that you follow?
To be honest, in my opinion, it all depends because even though you do choose your classes, if you do choose a specific major or a field to go to,
Mm-hmm.
there are requirements, and it depends on the intensity of your major as to whether or not you can choose your classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe if you do know what you're doing when you're choosing your major, it should not be as big of a deal dealing with whether or not classes are chosen for you, because that's the coursework required for what you need to do.
All right. All right. Okay. So it's not really a big deal, let's say it like that. It's not like what will determine
But it
if you
also does depend. Oh, sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
It also does depend on your positioning in school and what you're exposed to. Because say if you're like in high school or
Mm-hmm.
middle school and you still haven't figured out what you would like to do in school, however, you can't choose your classes, you're
Mm-hmm.
exposed to a lot less, and that can have a huge impact on your future and what you choose to do in life, rather than if you're given a large range of things in which you could choose classes from, and it's easier to find out your interests, then you're less more guided in making your decisions for what you would like to be in life.
All right. Okay. Okay, I get that. I get that. It's definitely important. You're right. And from what you said, what I get is more like whatever you do, actually, by the time you find your interest, by the time you find something that you get from it, it doesn't really matter the way it's done. That's what you mean. Hmm? You're right. There you go. All right. So let's dive a little bit between the word of God and what we usually do. Something I realized in the Bible. Do you know Samuel in the Bible? Prophet Samuel, the son of Anna. What happened with Samuel is that Anna took her son, the only son, the first son gave her. She gave it back to God in a certain way. She went and she gave Samuel to Eli. Eli is a prophet, a priest of God who were living on the mountain somewhere. So she went and she left her son there for him to be raised by somebody. And what I realized here is the importance of the place of an instructor, if a teacher in the life of a child or in the life of a student. And just to ask, like, do you think there's really the teacher has really that important place in your life personally, the instructor you have, and why do you think that?
Um, I think they're very important. Just because even though, like for us, we tend to only have a teacher like for 9 months or like 8 months in a year, and most of the time you never see them again after that. But the thing is, like during that 9 months, you see that person like sometimes even more than you see your parents.
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel like they do have a big impact on you, and
Mm-hmm.
like their teaching style, their personality, how they act, it greatly affects you. And like their treatment towards you, I think affects you, especially when you're young like us and you're still developing emotionally, physically,
Mm.
mentally. The way your teachers like act and how they respond to your actions, I think it greatly impacts you. So
Okay,
yeah.
so you mean like a teacher has they're not more important than parents, but sometimes they have a place in your life, in your day, or in the time you spend, in a day. that is more important than the time that you spend with your parent?
I mean, not more important, but I think that it's like very important because um they
Hmm.
can sometimes, some teachers like can be like a third parent to a
Hmm.
student. So it's like it I think that it's not more important than your parents, but like they have a very special place in a student's life. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's really interesting. And you're right, actually. You're definitely right because I can remember some of my teachers, they were like I had them in my heart now because just because they were so interesting. What about you, Joel? What do you think about that? The importance of the place of a teacher in your life, personally, of an instructor. Did you have like an instructor who really, touch you in a certain way that you still remember her or him today?
To be honest, but it isn't really the same way. It was more so their attitude towards their job that kind of reflected what I wanted to do,
Hmm.
because I saw that they were so passionate about like what they wanted to do, like, and they were so good at what they did that they were given better opportunities than, like, average teacher.
Hmm.
um I thought it was good.
All right. All right. I get that right. And you're right in what you say because I can remember some teachers like they were, sorry for the word, but they were mean. They were really mean, and the way they were, like it didn't encourage me to go to school. Like it didn't encourage me to, like, when you nod like that, you nod your head like that, it means you had that experience of the
Yeah.
teacher who doesn't encourage you to come to school. Like when you see him, you're just like, whew, come on, who's that person? Why am I in this class with him? But I can remember some teachers too. They would, at the beginning you think they're mean, but with the time you understand that they weren't really mean. They just wanted you to progress and succeed. And those are the type of teachers we kind of all remember. And yeah, and I have another question about teachers again, about instructors. You see how Anna and like Samuel was acknowledging Eli, like he was always asking him questions, always respecting him in a certain way. Do you guys think that in United States we have that same acknowledgement for teachers? Like, do you think that there's that same thing of I respect them and I obey?
Oftentimes you wouldn't see it in public school, but when you transfer to a like 4-year institution or any sort of institution in which people are paying for their classes, they really do respect their teacher. Like, it's a great change in dynamic, but it is there. So when addressing teachers, there's like a different manner because they they want that teacher's favor in a way. So like if they're speaking to a teacher, they're of course not going to be disrespectful,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna approach them in the right manner so that they receive that favor from the teacher. Sometimes, some people can be a little off, but like in most cases, I believe we do generally respect teachers on higher education.
On
But high
higher
school,
education,
yeah, high school, middle school, probably not. No.
like, come on, Grace, you had something to say?
No, it's just yeah, I agree with Joelle. Like I know for a fact in like public school, the school that you don't pay for,
Mm-hmm.
kids talk to like teachers, substitute teachers, especially substitute teachers, anyhow. Like they have it very rough. And but like yeah, I even myself like I talk a bit more like naturally to my teachers, like high school teachers, but with my the few of my college professors, there is that higher degree of like respect. It's not that I'm rude to my high school teachers, but I feel like I can talk to them like as a friend. and there isn't that level of formality that there is with my college professors.
Okay.
So like yeah, there is that culture of higher respect when you're paying for the classes that you're taking.
I get you. I get that. But like you said something and I want you to explain that. Like you said you have college classes and high school. How
Yeah,
come? Like where is it coming from?
I'm doing dual enrollment, so I can take high school classes throughout the day, and like after I take college classes and get some college credits that translate into my high school. So
Hmm.
yeah,
And what are the conditions to do that actually?
um, I think you need to have a certain GPA. You need to earn a certain. I think you take an acuplacer and you
Mm,
earn a
okay.
grade for before you can like get into that program, and you have to keep your grades up or else they like ask you to like step out of the program. You have to keep your high school grades up in order to stay in the program. So
Okay. Okay. Joel, don't like did you do a program similar, right?
Yes.
And was it the same thing for you? Like did you have to keep that grades up? And what are the advantages actually to do that program?
The difference, it wasn't necessarily the same thing. I attend a middle college in which like where everything is kind of like dual enrollment. After some years of taking high school classes, you transfer into the college setting and fully diverge into those classes, leaving with a certain amount of credit amount to an associate's degree. And the advantage is that you can be, you can finish school quicker than
Mm.
most people of your class, and you're also exposed to a lot more of the unrealistic college setting
So
during
it's
the
like
time.
it's
So
giving
so
you a
it's
degree when you finish that? When you finish high school?
yeah. Mhm.
What degree? What degree is that?
It depends on the program.
Okay. Okay. That's really cool. That's actually interesting though. So for you guys who are listening to this and you didn't know about this, I think you can ask for it in your high schools and all that, and it can be a good thing to do if you want to finish really early. Let's say it like that. All right, all right, all right, all right. Now I had a question because you guys said something, and I want to understand that. Why is it that in high school, except on the financial aspect, people don't respect the instructors? Like, come on.
I mean, I think part of it, I'm not saying that like this is all teachers. A lot of teachers don't really like care. Like there are some teachers that care, I admit, but like in my experience personally, you know, like the respect is almost completely one-sided. So, like um and for me I like to stay respectful to my teachers because that's also like between me and God, whatever reason my teacher has for like not really being considerate of me, that's not my problem or concern. But some other kids, they might not be like that. So some teachers do not honestly respect their students either, and you can see it in how like some teachers genuinely don't teach. They give difficult assignments that came out of like nowhere to students. They basically make your life difficult, and if you don't have the discipline to keep going with the class, I can easily see somebody just taking it out on their team, just being rude to them for no reason. So I'm not saying that's all cases, but like some cases, I feel like some teachers don't respect their students either. So,
I
and
do.
less incentive too, also, because, teachers can't yell at students, teachers can't beat students. So, people feel emboldened by the fact that your teacher cannot really retaliate that much, like other than suspending you or whatever. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I get that. I see. I see what you mean. So it's more about like it's kind of a lack of discipline of on both sides, like on
Yeah.
the teacher's side and on the student side too, on the student side too. All
Yeah.
right. All right. So it's kind of a lack of discipline. So the let's say the solution to this will be more discipline, you think only, or what you think, Joel? Like the solution will be more discipline or less discipline or what?
In my opinion, I believe it also a great I'm sorry, I got lost. But like something that does greatly impact the fact that like teachers may be disrespected in that setting is that we're school, we're in a setting in which it's mixed with students who, are not as serious about their future or education, rather than in college, they're taking it seriously if they have found a way to pay, you know, to even get in the college, or they've done what they needed to do to, attain the requirements for college. And so I believe, the solution may be in that situation to it may be discipline, but it's also taking it seriously. Like, yeah, I think that's all.
All right. Okay. Okay. So from what I get, it's more like so by the time I don't pay for it, I don't really value it. Is it more that like by the time I don't pay for it,
It's
I
not
don't value
it's
it?
not it's not individual, but it's a mass of like people paying for it, so they value it, So it will kind of be weird to be in such a setting and you see someone act out because there's so many people who take it seriously. And I also know that like because I would take my this is just as an example. If I would take my education seriously and you
Mm-hmm.
disrespect me in the class that I'm paying for, I would be upset, and I would also address like that's not how it's gonna work.
Okay.
Because if you go to college, your purpose of going to college is to learn. So
Okay. Okay. I get that. I get that definitely. I get it right. All right. Let's continue with this. From what I know, and from a perspective, a general perspective, what is written, let's say officially, a student has an obligation of respect and of result toward his teacher. And a student in all those obligations has the obligation of, let's say, like doing his homework and all that. And how do you think all that apply to this generation? Because we see more and more people dropping out of school and saying, hey, my teacher, I don't want to say the word, but my teacher is not a good one. My teacher did this. I don't want to do my work because of this. I'm not doing what she or he does, like she or he gives us to do. Like, how did we get to this point? Like, what created that? From what you guys see, because I didn't do high school here. So, from what you guys see, for example, in high school or middle school, how did you get to this point? Why did you get to this point?
Well, one thing I think is that uh a lot of kids, like, just in general, as Joelle was saying, do not value school. Like, some people just like say they want to drop out. Oh, I'm gonna start a business and make millions. I don't need school. And it's like the truth is, especially in America, I feel like there's more emphasis on making money
Mm-hmm.
than education. And everybody like knows that money is obviously important, but people genuinely, like, when they see education, they don't see it, they just see it as a means to an end. Like, I'm going to do this not to know what I'm learning, but just so that I can get a good job and make money and live happily. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like the education portion of it does not really um, matter to a lot of people.
Mm.
And especially like here, like there's so much emphasis on making money. And it just, like for them, they'll do basically anything to get it. And education is just one route. So a lot of people feel like, I can just, drop out of school, start an online business, make millions. And they just don't really, and they see like results with it. And then they're like, why even spend 4 years, 8 years of my life in school when I can just, start a business? Because they've never been given the reason to actually value education itself. Um, so that's what I think.
So you think that the society has this the image that the society give of the, let's say, the American dream, if you want, that image actually has a big impact of on the fact that people don't really value school, don't really value their teachers, don't really value the content they are given in school. And I personally think that you're right. I don't know what Joel thinks. What do you think, Joel?
I too agree.
Personally, I think that you're right because we are in United States particularly, it's a society where money is a keyword for everything. Like everything you want to do, they say money first. And even, for example, even to go to school in college, they put money first. So that's really an important statement that you just said. And I want us to dive a little bit deeper in that, but a little bit later, and we go deeper in that. Now, I have a question. Do you have a favorite subject?
I do, yeah.
Was there?
This might be surprising, but math, my favorite.
You love math?
Yeah.
What you want to study later?
Um, I want to do computer science. So
Okay, that's cool. Joel, what's your favorite subject?
It bounces between math and science.
Ah, Majid, you have
I'm
big
sorry,
brains, oh.
I just can't do reading. Reading is too subjective in my opinion. Like I just submitted a reading paper. All of the reading classes in which I've done very well in is because I had to see the teacher, sort of in a way lather them and
Chai.
not finesse my grade, but like they just all teachers all reading teachers look for is a hardworking student. That's it. They don't really they just always change up the rubric and I find it so unfair. So I just can't do reading.
Ah, Chai. Let's go. So, my J, you say that you are doing what to teachers for them to give you good grades in reading because
Okay.
this is very interesting. We need to know about that. What are you doing?
It's not that I'm doing anything, however, I just show diligence. Like it's just the small things. Like even though I don't take it I may not, like seem like I'm going overboard. Like, a slight email when writing an essay saying, "Hey, I've made this adjustment. Um, yeah, how does this look?" to my essay, and they approve or they disapprove of it. They're kind of
Mm.
gonna have some sort of lenience when writing your essay because they know of your effort, you know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I just that's all
Mhm.
I do.
You're getting sleek out there, huh? A little
I'm
bit,
not
huh,
getting
huh,
slick. It's
huh,
just
huh, huh. Hey, hey, hey. That's some brain in the intelligence. I got that. All right, okay. Now let's get deep in the subject. We talking about this, like talking to teachers in a certain way, sending them emails and all that. What do you think about young Christians who do, let's say, complicated things in order for them to get good grades, who are cheating, who are getting answers from something else, from somebody else, and all that? or simple people doing that. Let's get out of that Christian aspect, but simply people doing that. What do you think?
Um, I personally think that, it's a thing that is so common, especially in school. You almost like I imagine for the average person, you almost forget that it's like a bad thing to do. And
Mm.
I'm referring to high school, by the way, because I feel like college is very different when it comes to like cheating.
My
Yeah.
dear, let me tell you, it's not different. Let me
But
tell you, it's not different.
no, I mean like there's a lot harsher consequences, I think, if you get.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I mean. But high school, I feel like it's such a widespread thing. Like you don't even think about it sometimes. Like um, you know, as Christians, we try not to do stuff like that because it's dishonest and it's not helping you anyway. But like every now and again you go on like Quizlet and for
Why?
that,
Why that word? It's always the word Quizlet coming out when we talk about that. Like Quizlet.
I mean,
Mm.
because sometimes the teacher is just not, the it's not connecting, right? And you need that extra like push. So um but yeah, I think it's something that is has been so normalized that it's not even something that people think about. So yeah.
I see what you mean, and I think you're right too. It's becoming so normal, and let's say it right away. It's not supposed to be normal. Like it's not supposed to be normalized to go on Quizlet every time you have a question. Like, come on now. We know it's normalized because we know me myself. I did it at a certain point. So, like, it's not supposed to be normal, and laziness should not be encouraged, guys. Like, come on. Like, let's take this example. One day you will be in an office and they will tell you, oh, write this document, and you're supposed to know how to write it because you learned it in school. But since you went to Quizlet, like, you cannot write it, like,
To be quite honest with you,
uh-huh.
whatever job you get, they will teach you how to do.
They will teach you how to do it. I agree with you, but there's some stuff that you're supposed
Yes.
to know. Yes or no?
So yeah, there of course there's some fields in which you're supposed to know certain things. However, like um when you say like, oh, I'm not saying that it's okay to cheat your way through, but
Mhm.
you're gonna be constantly reminded of the expectations of what you're supposed to know. That would make you know. Say say your job is I don't know. I mean, of course you can't do stuff like this with medicine because there's years of practice in which you like you study the body, you
Mhm.
study what chemicals and certain things like whatever happens in it. But I know I know some teachers who weren't really interested in like certain subjects that they taught. However, they were given uh um something to do, which is practically what school is all about, where you give an assignment, you tell them how to do it, they do it, and they get graded. So like it's the same thing with a job, in my opinion. They're gonna tell you how to do it. I've never received a job that I didn't know how to do.
Okay, I
There's
get that.
always training. There's
There's
always
always training. That's true. There's always training. They
training.
always show you. And you said something, and that really touches me. Is that school is all about giving you an assignment, you doing the assignment, and you get a grade at the end. Like, how did we get to that point where school is just about that? Like, because school is supposed to be
Corona.
Yeah.
what you say?
She said coronavirus.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true. But I believe before Corona, it was like that too, in a certain way.
in some places, yeah.
In a certain way, it was like that before Corona. And I want to talk about this too. It's like it seems like, depending on the country, student or children value school differently. What do you think about that? Like in the United States, from Cameroon, for example, I was going to school there, and we value school in a way where, like, when you have the opportunity to go to a good school, you'll do everything to succeed. But here, when some of them have the opportunity, I'm sorry, but to go to a good school, it looks like they don't really care. How come? How did you get there?
I think
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes back to the idea I had earlier about how like school, especially college, is just such a business. Like because I think when people like refuse to go to school, 99.9% of the time, I think it's because not even the stress, but just the money. Cause
Mm-hmm.
like um everybody, most people dream to go to an Ivy League school because those are like the prestigious, the what they call good schools in America. But they cost so much money, like you'd be paying it like in your 50s, you'd still be paying the debt from going to a school like that. And I think people have just stopped valuing education in general just because they feel like they're just feeding into that system of money in America.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's also the aspect of like a lot of, I think it's a generational thing too. Your parents didn't go to college, they still end up being successful. And you're like, why am I going to go to college if mom
Mm.
and dad didn't go to college either and they're making six figures? So it's like,
I
yeah,
get that. I get that. I get that. And this actually makes me think about something else, but we're gonna talk about it later. So it's more because all it's about business and money. That's what you think, right? That's what you're saying.
they try to act like it's not, but it all goes back to money at the end of the day.
All right, all right. And I kind of agree with you because there's a lot of stuff. Whenever you go, wherever you go in America, and wherever they will tell you is about money, no matter what. So, and this is something that personally I think is destroying a lot of lives. Really, it's destroying a lot of people because people think some people think that they cannot do some stuff just because they don't have money, and that's kind of, you see, when you have a stumbling block that and you cannot advance, some people, their stumbling block is, I don't have money so I cannot do it. And that mentality is getting in a lot of minds, in a lot of people. I think maybe in some, let's say, in the American, you have like 20 to 30% don't think like that, but 70, 60 to 70% actually have that mindset of, I cannot do it because I don't have money. And how do you guys think about that? Like, is money a break for you? Will money be a break for your studies, for what you do? And if not, why? And if yes, why?
In my opinion, money isn't a break. However, it is a way to my break because I can't do what I would like to do without money.
Yeah, that's it. Like a lot of the stuff that you want to do costs a lot of money. So, not having money, obviously you can still try to like achieve your goals, but it's going to be so much harder without money. So, yeah.
So if you have somebody who is in this government talk, listening to this, like, come on now, either we need money or we need things to be free. Like, one or both. What do you want to say, Grace? What you thinking about?
Um um I don't honestly, like I don't think that college should be free. That just sounds unrealistic. Um but I do think that like the culture of students like going to college and then going into debt and then paying that debt off 10, 15 years later, I think it just needs to stop. Because like I don't think it should be free, but I feel like, there are scholarships for some students, but like those can be so rigged too sometimes that it's just, I think we need even more opportunities for students who want to go to school but just cannot because of money, because a lot of people cannot afford to go into debt from student loans. So um, I don't think school should be free, like I said, because that's kind of unrealistic. But I think that um, there needs to be more opportunities for um, lower income people. And I think there needs to be less intervention in the rules of like colleges in general from like the top 1%. So,
All right.
yeah,
So from what I get, it's more like school shouldn't be free, but school should be cheaper.
yeah.
Like higher education should be cheaper than it is now. All right. I get it right. I get it right. Thank you for that, because those are really important insights, and we're gonna dive a little bit more in in another aspect of school now. Is you as a Christian in school, like we see a lot of stuff happening in schools, a lot of crazy stuff, especially high school, a lot of crazy stuff, even in college and in some specific big schools. We're not going to name them, but it's really incredible when you see that. And what do you think is your role as a Christian, a young Christian in your school?
I think that our role as Christians in school is just to, even if you're not evangelizing, just at least spread godly behavior. Because even that, because people, whenever you start talking about God, they close their ears. But if you start by like at least just spreading like God-like behavior, like, um, the way Jesus would act, I think that that is the least we can do in our school settings as Christians. Most kids cheat, so you not cheating, you not cursing, it has a much bigger impact than we even talk about, because like so many people curse, so many people cheat, that like you not doing that, people see you as like, like, wow, she's very different because she's not doing what almost everyone is doing, and she's not um falling to peer pressure like almost everyone else has. So I think I mean, evangelism is good, but I think that at the very least we could spread godly behavior in our schools. So
All right, that's really interesting and really important. And it's actually godly behavior is a way of evangelizing. Actually, it's like showing something else, showing that you're different. And I remember last year we were talking about in our youth conference, we were talking about the difference, and that's a way of making the difference. Actually, what about you, Joelle? What do you think is your role? Like what do you think you have to do as a young Christian in your school?
I agree. I believe the most important thing to is an ambassador for Christ, and it is to show your morals, a strong foundation of understanding of God's love and who God is, just to set an example as a follower of Jesus Christ to other people.
All right, that's really interesting. That's really important, and I agree with you guys, because it's something that's really powerful. We sometimes we don't really measure how important it is for us to be different, to show that difference, because you can be different but you keep it for yourself, like, but when you put it out, it's something else. And that's something I really appreciate. Thank you for that. Now, um what about helping others in school? How do you do that? How do you help others in school?
um I mean, I don't know if this counts, but like sometimes my classmates will ask me for, some assistance on their homework or assignments outside of school. And that help
Mhm.
break it down to them because sometimes, like, you're distracted in the day or just the teacher, no matter what they say, it's just not making sense. So, yeah, I think
I feel you.
sometimes I try to help my classmates in that way. Not really go, but
Mhm.
just, help them with their homework.
Okay, I get that, and it's really important, like because sometimes we don't see it as an important action, but and I think this speaks to everybody like who will be listening to this, who is a young person or somebody who is in school right now, adult or child. Whenever you help somebody, you know, in any ways by explaining something, you're doing the work of God. So please don't just like tell the person get away, like I don't want to help you. And sometimes the person may be annoying, but we need to be able to tell them like, hey, come and I'll help you, because we have that burden and we have that load that we have to, as let's say, you have to take in your hands and just do it. All right, that's really interesting. Now, do you guys have Christian friends?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like how your relationships with your Christian friends? How is it like? Is it different? Is it the same way with others or no?
Um, I think it's a little bit different
Mm-hmm.
because with others, they keep trying to go back to those, like, in teen culture, like ungodly stuff is like almost like, rampant. Like 99% of the stuff that is like available to teens, like what we would talk about or what they would bring up is ungodly. So I think
Mm-hmm.
with my Christian friends, I'm able to be more myself and talk about stuff that, like, I mean, I talk about stuff that interests me with my friends, but like I can be more upfront with my Christian friends.
Okay. What about you, Joe? Do you have Christian friends, and how are your relationships with them?
I believe all of my friends have some sort of foundation in their belief of Jesus, or they're Catholic, but they're still I don't know. But how is my relationship with them? I believe everybody who's my like all of them have an understanding of what I believe is, I mean, who I believe Jesus is and who he is to me. So they have an understanding of my morals as well.
Mhm.
And so it doesn't really
That's
matter,
cool.
you know.
It doesn't really matter, like you don't have to, because I know some people they have to fake who they are, like they have to be somebody else or speak like somebody else, even though they are Christian. So in your case, you say that you don't have that, you don't really have that program of speaking as if you weren't Christian. That's what you say.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't fake a Christian personality because I know I'm not perfect, but yes.
Okay, that's really interesting and that's really important. I thank you for this, because I think a lot of people don't really realize how important it is to be themselves. You know, it's important to be who you are, no matter what, no matter how people are. Just be who you are. Just really be who you are, because somebody said one day, the more you fake, the more you become. So the more you fake that you're not Christian, the less you're Christian. And that's really something that we have to think about when we are with friends and all that. And How do you react when somebody who is not Christian does stuff that you don't believe in? How do you react when you are with a friend at the break or a classmate and he or she does something different from what you're used to?
I think it depends what it is, what they did. But in most cases, for me, I, even if I want to like tell them, like, hey, maybe don't do that, I usually do not bring up God just because, like, I know that probably sounds bad, but like, people, whenever you talk about not even just religion, but Christianity in general, no one listens anymore. So I think whenever I talk to them, just to like, maybe don't do that. I try to
Mhm.
give, if I'm going to like give the Christian reason why not to do that, I'll also give a logical reason why not to do that that can actually like make sense for them first, before saying also it's ungodly. So yeah, it depends what it is, but I think in most cases that would be my reaction.
All right. All right. So, what about you, Joel? What do you think? Like, how do you react when somebody does something that is kind of, let's say, ungodly or that is simply abnormal for our society or for the environment we are in?
It all depends to me. It depends on who they are to me, and it also depends on what they're doing. So I would always, if they ask for my opinion on it, I would tell them the truth, like the plain truth, what the action would mean to me, why I wouldn't do it, you know. But if they don't really ask me on my opinion, I just hint that I don't approve of their acts.
Mhm.
If it's like something that's very serious, then I'll tell them that I didn't like that, and like if we're friends, then I'll tell them that there's a possibility that I can't hang around you if you repeat that action.
Okay. Okay. So you are cash clean. Like, I'm no more with you if you do that again. Like, come on now. No, 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 no second chance. Like, come on. Cash like that.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Oh,
but
oh,
it's not
okay.
that I'm a no second chance kind of person, but I just let them know that that's not something that I approve of, and like I wouldn't accept it at all if it repeats itself.
Okay. Okay. And you're right in a certain way. And while we are talking about that, I would like to speak about something too. Is about the fact that everybody is not supposed to be around us in school. Everybody doesn't have that destiny to be around us. Like, everybody, how do you apply that thing of everybody doesn't have to be around you? Because sometimes we just want to be nice to people, but we cannot be that nice person to everybody every time. Like, we can be ourselves, be normal, be gentle, but do not accept everybody in, let's say, our cycle or environment. And did it ever happen to you guys that you have somebody in front of you, the person is nice, but you know that if you hang out with that person, if you let that person into your life, something will change in the wrong way? And how did you react about that?
Well, first of all, yes, I have dealt with that on a few occasions. And for people like that, I think it depends a little bit on how I feel about them. Because if they're like somebody that is my good friend, and I realize that like I don't know everything about them, and like there's some of their behaviors that I was not previously aware of, I do try, as difficult as it can sometimes be, I do try to at least distance myself from them, and at some point just stop. And as I said, as difficult as it can be sometimes it's difficult to let go of some people. But I think that if I see people having behaviors that I just, cannot tolerate, like it's not even a maybe, it's just a no, then, I have to um, distance myself from them and move on because, um, friends are temporary. Jesus is forever, right? So,
Okay, okay, okay. We like that sentence. Friends are temporary, Jesus is forever. So you better choose Jesus. Oh. What about you, Joe? Were you ever in that situation? You see the situation where you have somebody in front of you and the person is nice, but you know that if you start to hang out with that person, something will change inside you and in a bad way. And how did you react about that?
To me, I don't know. I always watch I always watch my friends, not in a bad way, but it's always like friends, in my opinion, are a representation of myself.
Mm-hmm,
And I know that if they in any way may have an effect on my character, I wouldn't want that to happen. So I keep a good watch on them.
mm-hmm,
And I know that I also can have strong opinions on people, so I give them that lenience to show themselves. And if I know for sure that we can't be friends, I don't really tell them that we can't be friends, but I never allow them to become my friend because bad company corrupts good character.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Thank you for that. So, what we can take out of all these, of all of just what we just said is pay attention to who you let inside. You know, we are not saying to be proud until you say, "Oh, I'm this type of person, so I cannot hang out with this." Like, no, just pay attention to the fact that Jesus was talking to everybody, but only 12 were around him. He was talking to everyone. So in your school, you can be, hey, how are you doing with everybody? But everybody's not supposed to know about your intimacy. Everybody's not supposed to be close to you in a certain way because, as she said, it can corrupt whatever you know, whatever you do, and whatever God has invested in you, and your parents or yourself have invested in you. So yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you for that, guys. We are almost done, but we have a few points that we have to go over again. But we are almost done, and this content is really interesting, and it will help a lot of people to actually go ahead and, let's say, do more things, like be a little bit more concerned about some important things. All right, let's go to that next point. I'm sorry, my notes. It's kind of a final question, but I want to know this. What would you say to somebody? 3 points. First, who have difficulties in school. How can he get out of it? Second point, who does not know how to socialize with people. Because I assume sometimes we all had that situation where we had difficulties in school or we did not know how to speak with people. And third point, what can I change myself when I see myself is me or yourself or somebody else in order to make my life as a young Christian in school better? So the first point is, what do you say to somebody who have difficulties in school?
you mean like studying and grades and stuff? Or
Yeah, studying, grades, and advancing in school, actually advancing, let's say, in the practical, in the school things. Because let's say I study every single day, it's difficult for me to study or to concentrate when I study. And when I get to the exam, I have that, I want to do well, but it's like I don't understand, or I'm in school and I don't understand, or I want to understand something better, but if they explain it to me, I don't understand. Some of those cases, they're different case, but it's okay. but in the practical aspect of things, because I know both of you have good grades in school, so what is the advice you will give to that person?
I'd
I
say, uh, okay, I'll go. Um, I'd say that just find out what style of like learning and studying works best for you,
Mhm.
because unfortunately, school is mainly geared at only one kind of learner. And the truth is, like, we're all different kind of learners. We learn differently. So the way that like our schools are structured might not work for everybody. Going to school for 8 hours, some people cannot handle 7, 8 hours of straight learning. Some people can, some people can't. So I'd say learn what works best for you and plan around it. For example, if you are like, you cannot learn easily in class because, your not your teacher, you're surrounded by like what, 20 other kids. I'd say, we have recorded Zoom classes now. Just, I guess, go at home and study, get a tutor if you can. Um, Basically, find out. I think the most important thing is to first find out what works for you in terms of studying, in terms of like your future goals, what um, classes you want to take, because you don't want to force yourself into stuff that you don't want unless you have to. So, just in general, find what works for you and plan your entire school like structure around it as best as you can. So, yeah.
All right, what were you saying, Joel?
I was going to say in the end, be open to criticism, because if you tell yourself that you're trying everything, but you don't know what's wrong, there's nothing wrong with seeking extra help with tutors, TAs, teachers, even online. Just try when you because there's only so much that you know. Um, it's always best if you can be open to acknowledging that you're not you can't do it by yourself. Pray and also go and seek help.
All right, so what we can take out of this is take the time to check what learning style you like better. Seek for help. Do not be proud, or do not think, oh, I even if they help me. No, seek for help first. And if it doesn't work, seek for another type of help. Like, find different ways to do things. Do not stay focused on, oh, I cannot do it. Who said you cannot do it? The Bible say you have a spirit of courage, not a spirit of of shyness, I think, and or a spirit of fear. God gave you a spirit of courage, so you have to be able to push it. And the Bible say, "Ask and you shall receive." You know, so if you ask, you will receive it. The most important is to be able to ask for it first. First thing first. All right. And as Joel said, be open to criticism. Be open to people telling you, hey, you can do this better by doing this. You can do this better by doing this. That's really, really important. The second question of the end is, how can I socialize better?
I think what stops a lot of people when it comes to socializing and making friends is like, before you even approach them, you're already scared. Oh, what are they going to think of me? Um, how are they going to feel about me? What if they don't like me because I say this? What if they don't like me because of how I look, how tall I am, how big I am, how small I am, how I talk? It's just, um, the sad truth is that like there's everyone, there's people who are always going to have a problem with you. There is absolutely nothing you can do that can stop people from criticizing you. So focusing on it is pointless. I think that don't be scared of rejection, because that's a thing that most people are scared of and it stops them from doing a lot of things. I think just try to get over the fear of rejection and just understand that, their approval does not matter as much as you make it seem like it does. Just, if you like yourself and if you see that something that like all of your qualities are completely fine, then stay like that. If people don't like you, if people um have things to say about you, it's something that doesn't matter how perfect you look, how perfect you act, how perfect your grades are, people are going to have an issue with you. So focusing on it is, you know, it gets you nowhere. So just um try to get yourself out there. um and if some people turn you down, others won't. So yeah, I think that's it.
All right, very important. Joel, something to say?
That exactly what she said.
All right, all right. And I agree with that because, and I want to add something. Pray about your friendship and people around you. It's important because sometimes we can see people as good, but God doesn't see them as good as we, you know, God does. He, not that God doesn't see them as good, but they are not the right people to be around us. So we have to pray about it and make sure that we go right about that. All right. All right. So the last question after that will be my notes. How can I be more comfortable being a young Christian in school?
I think what it is just to grow in your faith and grow strong in your faith, and you also have to ask for that faith because it doesn't always naturally come to people. So
Mhm.
you just have to say, like, you just have to be confident in in yourself. If you truly love God, then it will go away at a certain point. It will just be of your character to be like that.
Mhm. All right. What about you, Grace? What you think?
I think that you should, I've probably already said this, but just focus on, like Joelle said, growing your faith, having your relationship with God, taking the time to read the Bible, and realizing that the stuff that your friends like, all the worldly games, TV shows, movies, music, like, you cannot indulge in that, but it's okay, because the gain that you'll get from having a relationship with God greatly outweighs like the happiness you would get from worldly stuff. I know it's cliche, but it's like, you don't realize it in the moment, but like later on, like when you're 50, you're going to realize how much you've grown, how much has changed in your life, has how much you've benefited from having a relationship with God that you probably would not have been able to attain if you indulged in the stuff that your friends, your classmates are doing. So I think it's just knowing your end goal and seeking it diligently and trying your best to like ignore the how do I say this, like background noise, like all the people telling you what you're doing is useless, you're wasting your time, all those people like critiquers, naysayers, like finding the way to ignore them and focusing on what you are looking for. So yeah.
All right. So the thing is, focus on the goal. You have a goal, an objective, a purpose. Focus on it, and forget about like, oh, why you like this? What? So forget about people calling you pastor. Like, A lot of people will call you pastor. A lot of people will call you apostle, all that, but or prophet. Forget about that and just focus on I'm a child of God and I have a goal in my life. Is to follow God and do His will first. All right, all right. Anything to add before we finish, girls? No? Yes? Maybe? I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
No.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good too.
All right, girls. All right. So thank you so much for this. Which who would like to pray for people, because we always do that. We have that habit to pray for people for their school, to pray for people for what they want to do, and for something accordingly to all we just said. You know, Grace or Joel. Come on, Joel. Come on, like, can you pray for people, please? You're muted.
Oh, I was having my head bowed for when Grace was about to pray.
Uh, no.
All right, we're gonna divide it. Grace, you say a word, and Joel, you say a word.
I don't know what to say. That's
Just
Okay, I'll just pray. I'll just pray.
Go
What
ahead.
about the word? Father God, thank you for bringing us together for this meeting, and I pray that you as you send out your children into schools, I pray that you give them your spirit of wisdom and guidance and allow them to be ambassadors of you and your son Jesus Christ, the Lord. Father God, I pray that you give them the heart to be examples, and you also give everyone around them to be the heart to be touched, Father God. I pray that you give them good grades and that you give them the confidence and wisdom to continue school in such a environment and situation. Father God, I pray that their next transition and their future entails prosperity and that they know of your promises, Father God. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
amen.
Amen, amen, amen. All right. Thank you so much, sisters, girls, friends, everything. I don't know how I will call you with all the type of names. May God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Bye.
Ciao.